Welcome back everyone, this is MandoAllDay, back with another video, and in this video we're taking a look at the megafig anti-monitor. This is from the Crisis on Infinite Earths storyline. I'll be talking about the figure itself in terms of the articulation, sculpture, and paint, and if it's worth your purchase or not. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button to know how to support the channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. So let's take a look in front of the box. This side, which I can't even fit it on screen. The back, which I really like this art piece from George Perez. The other side. Top. And, ooh, I can barely pick it up, bottom. Alright, now let's take a look at the figure outside the box. As always, you do come with a card. This is the front of the card looks like. The back of the card. It comes with a regular stand, and what you see is, well, what you get. So let's talk about the articulation. So head articulation, left, right. It's kind of odd because you can't really grab the whole thing. You have to really just grab it right here. So left to right, it's fine, but up, down, it's not the greatest, but it's okay. Shoulder articulation, it's unfortunately limited because it does hit right here, you can see. So it does articulate, just, well, as you can see perfectly why it's a bit of an issue. Bicep, elbows, wrist, if I can figure out which way it articulates. Let's do this hand maybe. There you go. Come on. Articulate. It's a little stiff right now. There you go. Some articulation, not a whole lot in terms of the wrist. Actually, the wrist is fine. Just it was a little stiff. And we'll do torso. Not a whole lot. And, of course, swivel as well, too. So the upper body articulation overall is a bit of a mixed bag. It does articulate, but just limited, especially on the head. Shoulders gets hit right here. Wrist is fine. Torso is a bit limited. So it's a mixed bag for the articulation of the upper body. Leg articulation, it's good. Knees, ooh, it's a little stiff, but it's doable. Ankles, and of course, toes. Alright, so the leg articulation with this particular figure for a megafig is actually really good. So let's talk about this figure. And right away, I really like this head sculpture. It looks menacing, it looks creepy, but it looks just like, well, the anti-monitor from the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline. Or story, I should say, or event. And look at the teeth on there, the black, and then they have the weird greeny teeth, looks scary mean. Then you have the eyes, like the sparkly eyes, I call them. There's probably a terminology that describes the eyes, but I'm just going to call it the sparkly eyes. But it looks good, and what I like about it is it's black underneath it, so it almost looks like there's like nothing inside his eyes. Does that make sense? Then you have the sculpture design here on the back of the head. Got a little bit of the yellow on there, and the back as well too, which I actually thought there was something here because there's a little indentation right there, so I assumed there was something there, but apparently not. But the head sculpture looks really cool. The only downside, well, it's not really downside, is when you twist it, you can't, this little piece right here kind of blocks the way of the head sculpture. You can see it's not bad, it just looks a little off, but it's fine though overall. But I gotta say, the head sculpture, clean looking, but that's how he looks like in the comics. Then you have this huge pipe on here, whatever you want to call it, or hose. I'm not too sure what this is. I have not read the Crisis on Infinite Earth story, so maybe there's something significant. If there is, leave it in the comment section. But very, very bulky, huge. More of that sculpture design here, as well here on the hoses as well. You can actually feel the texture, which is pretty darn cool. Then you talk about the arm. Of course, you got that shoulder piece on there. It's just blue, or like a light blue. But you have this weird textured feel. I call it the Colossus skin. If you guys know what I'm talking about, Colossus from X-Men. It has that textured feel to it. It actually looks pretty cool when you see it in person. And I like how it's actually a bright silver. When you have a light on it, it actually shines really nice. But unfortunately, the joints is not a problem, but it's bad because everything else, it's silver, but the joints are like a matte gray. See that? You can see it perfectly right there what I'm referring to. Look at that. And there we go. Look at that. Nice bright silver and then just gray, which is not a bad thing, but it just looks a little off. But it's fine though overall. The lower back has the same kind of textured, same with the back side. And of course, you can really see more of that weird looking texture in the chest and abdomen. And the holes as well too over here in the abdomen. So overall, I gotta say the upper body looks really good. Again, looks like the comic version of Anti-Monitor. It looks good. There you got the hands on there too. Same kind of texture. The gauntlet. And I gotta say, I'm really liking this figure. There's only one problem with this figure, which I'll talk about in a bit. But apart from everything else, it looks darn sweet. The thing that I noticed right away, there's some bit of a weight to this particular figure. Because other megafigs, they have a certain hollowness when you actually like feel it, which I'll talk about in a bit with that Mongol right there, but this one doesn't have that feeling to it. It actually feels very solid, which I really, really like. So kudos to you, McFarlane, on that. Then you got the underwear on here. Same kind of sculpture design here that's on the head. Also present on the underwear. Also on the back. Unfortunately, Anti-Monitor does not know about squats because, well, you can see right there. And the legs have that thick texture to it, similar to the upper body and arms. And same thing with the joints that has that weird silver. You can see it right there perfectly. More of that textured on there as well, too, silver, with the joints being just gray. And the boots itself, boots are nice, huge sculpture design. You got the more hose right there, and the feet itself. Very clean looking boots, but the sculpture design on the legs, very, very defined thighs, but unfortunately he has, well, no glutes. But overall, this figure looks really, really good overall. And the complete package, when you see it as a whole, it looks really solid and it looks fantastic and it feels really, I don't want to say premium, but it does feel like his money's worth. I'm mentioning about the feel because Mongol feels very hollow. This one doesn't feel that hollow. It actually feels solid. It's a weird, weird feeling. Hopefully, if you end up getting one, you'll see what I'm referring to. Because as soon as I got this out of the box, it wanted to look good, but the feeling of it actually feels pretty darn good for the money what you're paying for. So overall, what I think about this figure, I like the figure. I'm so glad McFarlane did an Anti-Monitor figure, specifically megafig version. I think it's a great addition to the DC Multiverse. Hopefully we get some more classic looking figures, maybe like Superman, Wonder Woman, Hawkman, Batman, maybe just regular Monitor figures. I think that'll be great. And the figure itself looks fantastic. The problem, though, I have with this is going to be the scaling, which I'll show you in a bit why kind of an issue. Because the scaling of it doesn't make sense. When you compare this megafig to another megafig, you'll be like, wait a minute, this is Anti-Monitor. It's supposed to be huge, but yet he's not that big. And so that's my only gripe with this figure. It's just going to be the scaling. But apart from that, for what you're paying for $40, again, it feels solid. It feels good on hand. The paint looks nice and bright, very colorful, similar to the comics. And I gotta say, for $40, I think it's actually a good price. Just the issue is just gonna be that scaling. The scaling is the problem. It's one of those things where it's like, McFarlane, you were right there. You could have nailed it, but the scaling was a little too short. But overall, what do I give Anti-Monitor Megafig from the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline? I give it a thumbs up. Great addition. Colors are very vibrant, very detailed. Just like I said, the biggest issue is going to be the scaling. Here we have two different Megafigs. Here we have Anti-Monitor next to Mongol itself. And as I mentioned in terms of the feel, this one feels solid. This one feels hollow. Look, let me show you. Or let me have you guys hear. So I'm going to tap Mongol's chest and you can really hear the hollowness. So there you go. Hear that? I'll do it again. It feels really hollow, so it doesn't feel premium per se. This one though, when you tap the chest, I'm tapping it now. Hear that? Do it again. It definitely feels solid with the Anti-Monitor, and that's what I'm referring to regarding like the premium feel. it just has a better feel to the figure. Hopefully it makes sense what I'm referring to. But as I mentioned early on in the video, the biggest issue I have with this figure is just going to be the size. Just look at the difference in size. Because when you think of Anti-Monitor, you think of someone huge. I mean, just look at the art. Look at that. Look at that right there. That's Anti-Monitor going up against all these heroes. And look at the size difference, the scaling, compared to this. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. It's just, I wish it was bigger and taller. In terms of scaling, well, you can see here it works perfectly fine. Here we have Robin from Infinite Frontier storyline, I believe, and of course Anti-Monitor, the megafig, and you can really see the scaling difference. I mean, just look at the size difference, right? With Robin, or yeah, Damian Wayne. Look at the scaling difference. So this looks well, but when you have it compared the Anti-Monitor to another regular fig, it's like, yeah, something is a little off. Here we have Superman, the BBTS exclusive figure, and of course Anti-Monitor, the megafig. Again, the scaling. I'm emphasizing on the scaling is because that's my biggest gripe. Just look at these two figures. They're almost the same. Well, not almost the same size, but you get what I'm saying. 7-inch figure compared to what, maybe 8-inch, 9-inch figure. And the scaling, when you think of Anti-Monitor, you think of someone huge, maybe like Galactus level type of size figure. And you get this, which, again, it's fine. The articulation is good. The paint's good. It's just the scaling is the big thing for me. Here is another megafig. Here we got Bane, the really unnecessarily hard to find megafig Bane next to Anti-Monitor. And I wanted to show Bane because look at the difference. This is Bane, a regular human being, just with a bunch of venom and, of course, steroids and so forth, next to Anti-Monitor. And, again, like I said, look at the picture. Anti-Monitor, look at the size and scaling. Look at Superman right here. Look at Anti-Monitor. And then Bane is taller than Anti-Monitor. Maybe McFarlane's going to do like a super mega fig Anti-Monitor. I think that would be really cool. This could be like the first level, first stage of Anti-Monitor, and then do another one. I'm okay with that. But if this is going to be just, say, an Anti-Monitor, it is a bit of a letdown, disappointment. Because, again, look, we have here an Omega level type of cosmic being next to a human that's full of roids and venom. Come on. He should be bigger compared to Bane. Here's an even more comparison. We have Anti-Monitor next to Swamp Thing, the GameStop exclusive figure with the horns. Megafig, megafig. $40, $40. Scaling. Look at the scaling. It's off. This is huge. I mean, look at the difference of the size. The detail is there. The size in terms of the actual scaling is there for Swamp Thing, because Swamp Thing is a humongous being. He can also be small too. But this is a perfect display of his powerfulness, I guess you can say. This, on the other hand, Anti-Monitor is ridiculously powerful, but he's small. Look at the scaling. Just look at yourself. Look at it. Come on. If I were to tell you, man, this is a powerful character, if you just saw an image of Anti-Monitor and I explained to you he's the most powerful DC villain of all time, is powerful than Superman, etc., 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 and then you see him, you're like, well, he's kind of short and small. Was alright, a little intimidating here and there, but sure. But if I said the same exact thing and I showed you Swamp Thing, you'd be like, damn, I don't want to mess with this character. Look at the size, look at the horns, it's creepy. But then you have Anti-Monitor. I'm picking on Anti-Monitor because, again, he's supposed to be a humongous villain, powerful villain, and the scaling. I like the sculpture, I like the detail, but again, the size comparison. And size does matter. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with me in this figure? Do you plan to purchase this figure? Leave it in the comment section below. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button to know how to support channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. This includes an overview of the Anti-Monitor Megafig from the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline, and on to the next one.